During medieval Japan, the country was ruled by military dictators known as shoguns. They governed through a feudal system where vassals provided military service and loyalty in exchange for support from their lords. This institution was established in 1192 by Minamoto no Yoritomo, the first official shogun. Shoguns continued to rule for 7 centuries until the Meiji Restoration of 1868. Two prominent shogunates were the Ashikaga Shogunate and the Tokugawa Shogunate. The names of these shogunates were derived from their respective capitals, Kamakura and Edo, now Tokyo. Additionally, regents governed on behalf of underage or figurehead shoguns between 1203 and 1333 CE. Despite the shogun's military authority, the Japanese emperor still held ceremonial significance, legitimizing the shogun's rule. Minamoto no Yoritomo, a key figure during the Jinpei War, emerged as the most powerful military leader. He declared himself the first shogun, marking the beginning of the Kamakura Shogunate. Although the emperor technically outranked the shogun, practical power often rested with the military leader. Yoritomo's successor, Minamoto no Yori, faced a power struggle upon his father's death, leading to the rise of shogunal regents like Hojo Masako and Hojo Tokumasa. These regents wielded real power, while the shogun often served as a mere puppet. The role of the shogun became malleable, manipulated by a succession of regents until the establishment of the Ashikaga Shogunate in 1338. With the decline of regents, the shogun once again became the primary leader of Japan, although power was still distributed among prominent military figures. And the shogunate government, known as bakufu, was the central authority in medieval Japan, operating on a feudal system where loyalty and military service were exchanged for land and patronage. At its pinnacle was the shogun or regent shogun, who allocated land to loyal followers in return for their military allegiance, including their personal armies of samurai. Assisting the shogun were various ministers, officials, and institutions, each adding complexity to the government over time. A key figure in the government was the deputy shogun, kanrei, often rotated among members of families like the Shiba, Hosokawa, and Hatakeyama. From 1333 CE, their role involved bridging communication between the shogun and regional military governors. The samurai dokor, established in 1180, supervised vassal warriors, gokunin, and later expanded its responsibilities to include oversight of government agents, the shogunate's property, and Heiankyo's security. The imperial court in the capital was overseen by the Kyoto Shugo, or military governor, later replaced by the Rokuhara deputy in 1221. Troubled regions like Kyushu and Ashu had their special commissioners to maintain order. The Komanjo, Public Documents Office, was founded in 1184, later renamed as the Mandokoro, it means Administrative Board, in 1191 CE, which became the government's executive center and eventually managed the state treasury. The Manchuho, it means Board of Inquiry, dealt with legal matters from 1184 onwards, including lawsuits and land disputes. In 1225 CE, a vice-regent to the shogun, Rinshu, was appointed, requiring his signature alongside the regent shoguns on official documents. The Hyojashu, Council of State, formed in the same year, composed of top officials, warriors, and scholars, voting on issues with a simple majority. The Joy Code, Joy Shikamoku, established in 1232, outlined land ownership, lord-vassal relationships, and limited the emperor's role, basing legal decisions on precedents. Finally, the Hikitsukshu, established in 1249, dealt with disputes related to land and taxes. To extend the shogunate's rule across territories, 2 local offices were created, Shugo and Hito. Shugo, military governors, ensured order in provinces, while Hito collected taxes from private estates. Over time, both positions became hereditary, with some daimyo controlling vast estates that rivaled the shogunate's power, challenging its authority. As the imperial court basked in the splendor of Heiankyo, the shogun's government danced across the map, leaving its mark on various cities. From the stately Kamakura to the elegant Muramachi in Heiankyo, and later the bustling Edo, each relocation bore cultural and artistic fruits. The shoguns weren't just rulers, they were patrons of the arts, nurturing creativity and elegance in their domains. Many shoguns, particularly upon retirement, became enthusiastic supporters of the arts, funding painters, sculptors, and no-theater performances, perpetuating the aristocratic taste for the Japanese tea ceremony. Among these cultural enthusiasts was Ashikaga Yoshimitsu, whose legacy glimmers in the form of the Kinkakuji, or the Temple of the Golden Pavilion. Originally crafted as his ostentatious abode, it later transformed into a serene Zen Buddhist temple. Following suit was Ashikaga Yoshimasai, whose Jinkakuji, or the Serene Temple of the Silver Pavilion, mirrored its golden counterpart, adorning Kyoto's skyline. Tokugawa Ieyasu, too, left his mark with the majestic Nijo Castle, a testament to his power and grandeur, built amidst the elegance of Kyoto. But their efforts weren't confined to building anew. They also dedicated resources to restoration, especially after the ravages of fires that plagued the land. Tokugawa Iemitsu, for instance, poured his wealth into resurrecting Kyoto's revered Kiyomizu-dera, even erecting a new pagoda as a symbol of renewal. Yet, amidst the opulence and cultural flourishing, challenges loomed on the horizon. Emperor Go-Toba's ill-fated Jokyu disturbance in 1221 and Emperor Go-Daigo's Kinmu restoration in 1333 stood as testament to the occasional friction between imperial and shogunate authority. External threats also cast shadows. The Mongol invasions led by Kublai Khan in 1274 and 1281 were repelled by a combination of Japanese resistance and fortuitous typhoon storms, preserving Japan's sovereignty. Internal strife brewed with the Onin War from 1467 to 1477, plunging Heiankyo into chaos and heralding a century of unrest known as the Sengoku period. Yet, amidst the turmoil, a beacon of unification emerged in the form of Oda Nobunaga. Rising from his base at Nagoya Castle, Nobunaga's conquest culminated in the capture of Heiankyo in 1568, spelling the end for the Ashikaga Shogunate. Nobunaga's reign ushered in the Azuchi Momoyama period, succeeded by the powerful Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu, who solidified Japan's unity, relegating the shoguns to the sidelines of political power. The Tokugawa Shogunate, born in 1603, would reign until 1868, when the Meiji Restoration stripped the shogun of authority, returning full power to the emperor after years of internal strife and external pressure. Thus ended an era of shogunate rule, marking the dawn of a new chapter in Japan's history. With the Meiji Restoration, Japan entered a new era of transformation and modernization. The Restoration abolished the position of shogun, symbolizing a shift in power back to the emperor. Freed from the shackles of ineffective governance and foreign threats, Japan embarked on a journey of rapid industrialization and societal reform. Under the guidance of Emperor Meiji and his advisors, Japan modernized its military, revamped its education system, and embraced Western technologies and practices. The once isolated island nation emerged as a formidable global player, challenging Western hegemony and asserting its influence in the international arena. The Restoration also marked a cultural renaissance, as Japan sought to reconcile its rich heritage with the demands of modernity. Traditional arts and practices were revitalized alongside the adoption of Western innovations, fostering a unique blend of tradition and progress.